Good morning. This is Dylan Jovine with Behind the Markets. Happy Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, May 13th, and it is raining down here, pouring. It's been great. We get a lot of summer rains in Florida, and this looks like it's going to be quite a wet season. Summer's a wet season down here, and sometimes I have to remind my kids that this was a swamp. Florida literally was a swamp. So you got to keep that in mind during the summers that we are in basically swampland. But today I want to talk about Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's deal with China, the Trump administration's deal with China, to lower tariffs back. Obviously, the markets were ecstatic yesterday. And look, in terms of economic policy, Scott Bessent's the only person I really trust in this administration, better than Navarro and Lutnick, that's for sure, in my view. And look, what Scott Bessent said, and I wrote some notes here, is this is just a pause, but we lowered the baseline tariffs back to 10%, plus the 20% fentanyl-related tariff remains in place. So, bottom line, Chinese goods to the U.S. face a 30% tariff rate in total, down from 145%. And that is good. Obviously, you saw that with how the markets reacted yesterday. We're excited as investors. Now, I have a lot of friends of mine who are very critical of this whole thing. They say, we're right back to where we started. What was the point of all that? We raised tariffs, they raised tariffs, and investors lost $5 trillion and a lot of uncertainty. And here we are back to blah, blah, blah. I say, let us be patient. We don't know what the deal looks like, but we do know ultimate deal looks like. This is a pause, as Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says. We don't know what this deal looks like, and we won't know what it looks like until it's hammered out. But positively, the Treasury Secretary is going to be meeting China again in a few weeks. So we will see what happens there. I will tell you something. It seems if you would have listened to Navarro and Lutnick right after these April 2nd Liberation Day tariffs were announced, you would have thought to yourself, we are going back to the 50s. We're bringing back manufacturing to America. These guys were on TV every day basically saying this. And the problem with bringing back manufacturing to America is that even China's losing manufacturing jobs because everything's getting automated with robots. So it's not really that simple. I know we've lost 90,000 factories in America over the past 60 years to globalization, but those days are, I hate to say this, but those days are very gone because all of this stuff is being now automated with AI and robots. It's a different world that we live in. So I'm happy to see that we seem to have more moderate policies going on here, more common sense policies. And believe me, you guys know, more than anybody, I view China as definitely our primary threat. As a nation state, it's a national security threat. So I'm a big believer in strategic decoupling. Not total decoupling, I think that's stupid, but strategic decoupling. Decoupling the mission critical industries like pharmaceuticals, as we found out during COVID. Come on. How do you make sure you get the most critical drugs to the United States for U.S. citizens from China? That just seems insane to me. And obviously tech. I don't think we should be sending them certain chips, certain AI, et cetera, et cetera. We don't want to fight a war, if God forbid it comes to that, against our own technology. So anyway, one of the things that looks very positive to me is that we will start getting rare earth minerals back. China basically has a choke point there. And very little understood and followed here is that they had blocked all rare earth exports to us. It seems like we both had a gun to each other's head. It's almost mutually assured destruction from a trading point of view. We know that it was hitting their jobs very hard. Our military and a lot of our critical industries, car, automotive, et cetera, depend on these critical minerals, and they blocked us from getting them. So we don't know which side blinked. It doesn't even matter, really. What we want to do is a common sense deal. And of course, we want to stop them from using third countries, setting up dummy corporations in third countries like Mexico or Canada to basically, and these are some of the non-tariff barriers they're talking about here, to get around our tariffs. They set up these other companies in Vietnam or Mexico and Canada to get around the China tariffs, and then they get around them by shipping them to us directly. Look, I'm happy about this. I am glad that the Treasury Secretary seems to be the primary voice on trade negotiations. He understands a couple of very important things that I'm not sure Peter Navarro understands, and Lutnick just seems a little too eager to please, which actually, I think, for the Commerce Secretary, shrinks the position and shrinks the person when you're just that eager to please, frankly. But I'm happy about this news. You should be happy about this news. Everybody should breathe a sigh of relief. We are not out of the woods yet. This is obviously a positive step in the direction, and hopefully we can start to change this tariff narrative back to an AI narrative, because there are some amazing things happening while this is going on. And we're going to be talking about those in the coming days and weeks. Anyway, have a wonderful Tuesday. I'll speak to you tomorrow.